The GM meetings are going in San Antonio, and we have agents, we have GMs, all talking about Houston Astros players that everybody's going to want. So the market's going to be really tough for Alex Bregman and Yusei Kikuchi. We'll talk about that next.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros. We update you guys for a daily Locked On Astros podcast.
We hope that you make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on at Eric Talk Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros. Your team every day. Brett is at the Rockets game, so I decided to go ahead and do a show. We're going to talk about all the talk that's surrounding Alex Bregman, Yusei Kikuchi, and the most recent name, Ryan Pressly. What's going to happen to Ryan Pressly? We'll talk about that on this show. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You could start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started today. So, guys, we got a lot to talk about. We all know that Alex Bregman has been the heart and soul of this team for many years. We know that this is a situation where the Astros should go out there and do whatever it takes to get the job done, but they probably are. They probably are out there doing everything, and that's what Dana Brown says. And in fact, he says that Alex Bregman is the top priority for the Houston Astros. But we're going to talk about Bregman a lot in this episode. I wanted to start off with what he said about Yusei Kikuchi. We know that Kikuchi was a guy that the Astros we traded for, and everybody's like, who's this guy? Why did we give up all these prospects? Was this worth it? And so he's actually, because he doesn't have a qualifying offer attached to him, he's going to be one of the most desirable starting pitchers out there, because you could sign a guy that came over, had some great success with the Houston Astros once he got away from Blue Jays, without having to give up a draft pick. So that means other teams are going to be trying to go out and get him. So this is what Scott Boras said today. Not having a qualifying offer because he was traded, you will see the whole menu of teams that will not normally be participating for a starter at that level. For that reason, he's one of the most sought-after players in free agency. And so that I didn't even think about that. I thought that, hey, he had a good run with the Houston Astros. He's probably going to get a good contract somewhere. Would it be with the Astros? Would he return? I'm sure he liked it playing here. I'm sure he liked what the Astros did with his pitching style. But that's not enough for him to do that. So yes, Jacob says that signing Walker would require a draft pick, the second and fifth highest draft picks in 2025, and $1 million in international bonus pool. Yeah, that's why you're probably not going to see the Astros sign any players that have a qualifying offer attached. Okay, so as much as I would love to have Walker from the Diamondbacks, Christian Walker, I just can't see the Astros doing it, especially at this point where they're already short-handed in the farm system. Are they really give up two players for one? But getting back to Kikuchi, Dana Brown said we'd like to have him back. Of course, free agency is difficult. Sometimes a guy goes into free agency and ends up with another team, but we're going to try to make an effort to get him back and have some conversations with Scott. So, of course, that you have Alex Bregman is one of Scott Boras' clients. Yusei Kikuchi is another one. But Kikuchi is a option that would be nice to have for the Houston Astros. they can go out and maybe get somebody else. Maybe they have some people in the farm system they're counting on. They're hoping to get Luis Garcia back at some point this year. Lance McCullers is about to begin throwing, so he could be option in the starting rotation. So the Astros feel like they have strong depth, but is it could be strong enough? We saw what happened last year. So it all depends on, I think even Dana Brown said, hey, we're interested in Justin Verlander. We're going to have that conversation with him, with the agent, see how much it would take to get him to come back. But they're not going to give Justin Verlander the same type of money because he kind of fell short last year. He wasn't the same pitcher. So the Astros going to take that into consideration. So definitely Yusei Kikuchi. He was a great trade asset. The Astros got a lot out of him in his limited time with the Astros. I wish we could have seen his performance in the postseason, but I don't know. I just don't think that the Astros can sign everybody. And so it all goes back to what happens with Alex Bregman. Are they going to be able to trade Ryan Presley? This is something we'll talk about a little bit later. But there are options that the Astros have. They need to save some money. They're already over pretty close to luxury tax threshold of $241 million. I think they're at 236 or something right now. That's with all the projected salary arbitration and everything like that. So is Jim Crane willing to go above and beyond to do that? They're already paying the luxury tax this year. Are they willing to pay luxury tax again the next year? So it's definitely something that we got to take a look at and see what's going on in terms of free agency and everything. So Brett says that Dana Brown also said that they don't see themselves getting into signing multiple players for 7 to 8 years deals, meaning that other teams are looking at that with Bregman. So we'll talk a little bit more about Bregman in a second. Brett just said, text me that from the Rockets game. But before we get into Bregman conversation, Hunter Brown and the Astros apparently met last spring to basically discuss a extension. But now Hunter Brown has gone over to, I don't want to say the dark side, but he has made Scott Boras his agent now. So that means that he's likely going to get paid a lot of money. An extension is not likely for Hunter Brown without having paid the big bucks, unless Hunter Brown just wants to stay in Houston. But this is not something we have to deal with until after the 2028 season. It's just good to extend these players while they're young. We did that with Jose Altuve. We did that with basically Jordan Alvarez, with some other players. It didn't work out so well with Lance McCullers, but that's a story for another day. So Boras also got Lance McCullers, speaking of which, a 5-year, $85 million extension. So I could see something like that for Hunter Brown at some point, especially if he pitches like he did in the second half. So there's just so many different people, different things that Dana Brown is juggling right now. Like, he wants, the main priority is Alex Bregman. He wants to keep Alex Bregman in Houston, and he has let Scott Boras and Alex Bregman know that. And I'm pretty sure that they both know that. I don't know if he's going to be a lifetime Astro, but could they sign him? But are they going to be able to sign him? Like, I've heard over the past few days that the Washington Nationals are dark horse candidates for Alex Bregman. They can probably offer him a long-term deal. They could probably offer him a lot of money because they don't have a big salary. So the question is, will he be able to, what does he want to go to a team that may not be in contention right now? So there's so many different questions, and we'll see what's going on. But guys, thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. Hey guys, sometimes you have that moment where the time's right, and sometimes you just can't step up to the plate and hit a home run. Sometimes you get a single and then you kind of limp off and you can't really get the job done. Well, your sex life is important, but your schedule is busy and you don't have time to go to doctor's office, and it's really embarrassing to go to a doctor's office. So HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual treatments from the comfort of your couch. HIM provides you access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints, Viagra, Cialis, and their generics for 95% cheaper. The process is 100% done online, and there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. So with hundreds and thousands of trusted subscribers, HIMS can help you find the ED option that works for you. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatments. HIMS/lockedon. Alrighty, so I know Bregman has been a big discussion point this offseason so far. It's been a little bit longer offseason than we like because the early exit. But the Astros really value Alex Bregman. They want to bring him back. And they know that other teams want to sign him. And this is something that Scott Boras said. He's know that Dana Brown the other day said that the biggest priority is Alex Bregman at this point. But we've heard that Scott Boras basically say that there's a healthy market for Alex Bregman because of what he could do at the plate, because his ability to possibly play second base, which he reiterated today in a press conference. And he said that the Astros are aware that there's a lot of teams out there. So don't expect a low ball offer by the Astros. And this is what Boras had to say of the Astros' interest. They're certainly measured through me that throughout the process that they're actively engaged. It's a market certainly that the Astros are very aware is healthy. And he goes on to say, I think with Alex Bregman, his leadership, what he provides in the locker room, they clearly understand the rarity of being to 4 World Series and being in postseason 8 years in a row, and him being a centerpiece of that. They've certainly measured to me throughout the whole process that they are actively involved. So as to meeting markets and demand for this type of player, you don't have many players on the dirt that does what he can do. Also, Bregman can play second base, third base, his leadership. It's a market certainly that the Astros are aware are very healthy. Meaning, there's a lot of teams out there for Alex Bregman services. FYI, if you haven't heard, Alex Bregman did have surgery for loose bodies in his elbow. He's expected to get back to swinging in a few weeks or so. So it's not going to interfere with anything. But it's something that Astros, other teams that are looking to sign him, they definitely need to monitor because the elbow, I think, was an issue late in the season. He definitely missed some time. So that's something. But Brown basically said that we love to have Alex Bregman back. It's our biggest priority. He said that they've had productive conversations. John Heyman, upon hearing a lot of this stuff, has even said he's very confident that the Astros are going to do what it takes to re-sign him. Most players, when they're at this age and they get to their first taste of free agency, they want to test the market. They want to see what they're worth. That way, when they go back to Houston Astros, hey, I want to stay here. They have some value to what he can do. So, yes, it was elbow gremlins. Yes, our genius. So definitely something that Brown said they're not going to just throw a lot of money. Brown said that I would characterize the conversation as optimistic. Bregman's been a pillar here. Scott is willing to listen, and we've had really good, productive conversations. But it has to make sense. I don't think we're going to be in business of getting multiple 7-year deals or multiple 8-year deals. But if there's opportunity to sign a guy that we feel is going to be good for 6 or 7 years, I think Jim will do it. So basically what he's saying is he would go past that 6-year luxury to bring back Alex Bregman. Also, will he exceed the luxury tax threshold? To stay in competition, Dana Brown basically said, yeah, I think Jim will do it for the right player, for the right situation. Of course, the Astros are going to try to do other things. We know that Alex Bregman is going to cost, let's say, minimum 26, maximum 30 million per year. You've got to save some money. Yes, they lost some salary with some of the names coming off the books, notably Justin Verlander. Kikuchi wasn't making a lot, but he was making a little bit. But you have some salary going off. But trading somebody in your surplus area to maybe bring in another player who possibly plays center field, maybe play third base, Ryan Pressly. Ryan Pressly sounds like a guy that might be traded. He's due to make $14 million this next year. Yes, he was America's closer. He was the Astros closers for many years, and he was a pretty darn good closer at that. But the Astros might need to consider doing that. They have Brian Abreu. They have Josh Hader now. It feels like Pressly and Hader, for whatever reason, I'm sure they didn't have any beef against each other, but it didn't work. So if Hader's here for the long term, then why don't you go ahead and try to trade Ryan Pressly? He wasn't the same Ryan Pressly this year. So would they do that? Who would you replace him with? Forrest Whitley is a guy that you could possibly count on, but who knows what you can get from Forrest Whitley? I think that he needs to be given a chance. And if you want to try to maybe sign Alex Bregman and get him underneath the luxury tax threshold, the Astros, maybe you might have to trade some guys. He even, I know the names Kyle Tucker, Framber Valdez has come up. They're both free agents next year. If they're not going to be able to sign them, why don't you try to trade them? I just don't see them doing that because that's going to be like them waving the white flag and saying, we're done. We're going to go and start rebuilding. So I don't think definitely not Tucker. Framber Valdez is an interesting name. The Astros don't really have the depth. They lost Urquidy. They also Penn Murphy. He's no longer on the team. So that pitching depth is a little bit lighter. Yes, they do have Spencer Arrighetti, Hunter Brown. They have Christian Javier at some point coming back, maybe mid-year. They have Luis Garcia. They have Lance McCullers. But can these guys stay healthy? And so bullpen. Bullpen is where you can maybe get a little bit creative like they have in past. Like you saw them last year with Brian Keane. Maybe you can pick up somebody in the Rule 5 draft. Maybe you could pick up another Brian Keane like you did in the minor league Rule 5 draft. So Ryan Pressly was Houston's closer. He saved 102 games, had a 2.99 ERA, and he had 22 and 2/3 scoreless innings without any earned runs in the playoffs. Then Josh Hader got here and things got a little bit mixed up. He wasn't the closer anymore. Not sure what's happened. But whatever it is, Ryan Pressly, it would be weird not to see him on the Astros. This was a guy that when we traded with the Twins for him, it was like, hey, this guy's got some great stuff. This guy can be somebody that you can have in your bullpen for many years. And that's why the Astros extended him. But if you need to save some money, maybe get some more pieces back. If not at the major league level, get some more minor league pieces back for Ryan Pressly. So the Astros might have to get creative, guys. If you want them to sign both Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker, they're going to have to do something. So, guys, we're going to continue this conversation next. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check us out. Hey guys, we got the baseball season is over, but football season is in full swing. You got the Rockets. That's where Brett's at right now at the Rockets game. But go ahead and tackle all the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook because right now new customers can bet $5 and get 150 and bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place bets, live bets on NFL, basketball, wherever you want to. FanDuel's there for you. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you think that not Deshaun Watson, CJ Stroud, I'm a little bit late there, but CJ Stroud is about to go off for 3 touchdowns. You can make a bet in the middle of the game with FanDuel. So just visit FanDuel.com today. And you can join. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel. It's America's sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, guys, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and hit that little red button down there. My name's Eric Huysman. You can watch us on your Amazon Fire TV stick if you want to. If you want to see Brett and I on your big screen, all you have to do is just download the free channels app, and you just go ahead and search baseball and then the Astros, then you can find us. And it's pretty cool. Like Brett and I've have done that a few times. So just watch us on our big screen. It's just a cool experience. So we're going to go and continue this conversation. I already talked about Bregman as the Astros' top priority. A lot of people have said, well, now that they let go, or Kitty, maybe it's time to let go of McCormick. And Dana Brown addressed this a little bit. He said that they're probably not going to trade McCormick. He had a down year this past year. Yes, all the numbers are down. He had the opportunity to seize the everyday center field role. But he wasn't able to do that. So players sometimes have down years, is what Dana Brown said. And he feels like that they could possibly have an opening down the road. Let's say Kyle Tucker doesn't come back. They need to try to give McCormick a chance to shine. Who knows how much Alvarez is going to play in the outfield next year because of all the knee issues. So McCormick is a bat that the Astros hope to fix because he's a valuable asset. So I don't think you're going to see McCormick being traded. He's only in his second year of arbitration, and Dan Brown said nothing's off the table, but he wants to try to keep Chas McCormick. He says, I feel that Chas McCormick can be everyday left fielder. He showed us that in 2023. The problem was when he didn't play as well last year. He knows that. He's already locked in. He's already starting to work. So we really want to give him the opportunity to turn a corner. So this is a cheap guy. This is a guy that you're not going to pay a lot of money to, but we'll see. And he said that McCormick can also be a guy that gives Myers a break. You can give McCormick a break. When you're talking about Alvarez. So we know what McCormick can do with the bat, and I think he's going to have the opportunity. And if he shows that he's not going to turn the corner, then we might have to make some type of move before the deadline. But I think it's important to give McCormick a chance to come back. So they already traded for Taylor Trammell. He's probably going to have impact at the minor league level. If the Astros get desperate enough, he'll probably come up at some point. But Dana Brown said he could come in and have a great spring and start off real well in the minors and be in the big leagues, making an impact. Yes, he has that type of potential. So we'll see what Trammell has to offer. He hasn't really done much at the big league level yet, but we'll see. Is Kevin Biggio a free agent? I'm not sure. I believe that he is, but I don't think he's out. He's got high demand. I did see my friend always talking about Lewis Robert. I still don't think the Astros have the talent to trade for Lewis Robert. I would love to have him on this team. Don't get me wrong. But I just don't see that the Astros have the pieces. They're going to have to get players at this point through free agency, and it's not going to be anybody that's tied to a qualifying offer. So that's something that you have to understand. We talked about McCormick, Lance McCullers, like we talked about. He is going to be starting to throw pretty soon. Luis Garcia will be ready at some point at the beginning of the season. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But let's see. Where's this? This is funny. No, not that. Mayday says that the Astros need to steal signs again. I think we all needed some humor here, but no, I think the Astros will be fine. I just think that they're coming off a bad year. They had such high expectations with Josh Hader as the closer. You have that three-headed beast of a bullpen, and you thought you had the core lineup together, and you had a new manager. And I think what we saw last year was a lot of growing pains with Joe Espada. And we're going to talk about this on tomorrow's podcast, but Joe Espada and the hitting coaches, they met after a season, and they said, look, we got to change what we do. We can't keep on being so aggressive. We got to make better contact. And so Brett and I will both address that tomorrow. But this is something that the Astros need to work on, because they're good hitting, but at the same point, they could be so much better. You have so much inconsistency with the lineup and just production, and especially with hitters and runners in scoring position. And it's just sad to think that this team was beat by the Tigers, and they could have gone back to the World Series, but the Tigers, just because as hot as they were, it just didn't work out. But some more on Alex Bregman. I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't even really care to have Alex Bregman back. They want to focus the money elsewhere. Christian Walker and Pete Alonso, they're probably not options for the Astros. If you're going to upgrade at first base, it's going to be somebody like Paul Goldschmidt or some of the guys that don't have that qualifying offer attached to them. Christian Walker would have been perfect here. I really think that he's the player the Astros could have used. Alonso, that was a pipe dream. I think that he's going to get some big-time speculation. But there are teams out there, and there's a lot of names of teams that he could go to. I believe the Yankees. I believe the Nationals already mentioned. But the Astros understand that this is a guy that they're not going to sign for cheap. This is a guy that they're going to have to outbid. They're probably going to have to go, like, if is willing to play second base, would the Red Sox take a look at him? There's so many different teams that could be after him. The Tigers with AJ Hinch. You have the Mets, the Mariners. There's no quality third baseman out there. So Alex Bregman is the premium guy out there. The Astros, are you going to have to do that? So, Chris, did I see that Cardinals are making Wilson Contreras a first base? Maybe soon with Diaz, they do the same. I think what Brett said yesterday makes sense. Caratini might be the better option at first base. Diaz, if he gets more experience, I think he'll be fine at first base, but his defense at times was not great. But Jacob asked, is everybody that got a qualifying offer going to cost you a draft pick? Yes. The 13 players that have a qualifying offer, they get a draft pick. So that's compensation for the team not being able to sign that player or trade that player away. So you can only get a qualifying offer if you're a first time getting it, first of all, and you've been with that team for the entire year. So Bregman, this is the first time being a free agent, so he gets a qualifying offer. So yes, everybody that's got that tag. It's like a tag in NFL. Same idea. They try to get you signed for $21.2 million. Alex Bregman's not going to do that. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know that Dana Brown is optimistic. It seems like people around baseball think that he's going back to the Astros, but we'll have to see. Can the Astros outbid the 5 to 6 teams that are going to be throwing all their money all the years at Alex Bregman? So we'll see. Emilio asks, why do we need Verlander? Because, I mean, I'm not saying the Astros need to go get Verlander, but you don't have a lot of quality starters right now. So is Verlander going to be the ace that he's used to be? Or is he going to be the guy that we saw last year where he struggled a lot at times? So I don't think if he comes back to Houston, it's going to be a very team-friendly deal, and it's just because he wants to stay. So I thought Jose Ramirez Jr. was a premium third baseman. Yeah, but he's not a free agent. So we're talking about the free agents of this year's class. There are no quality free agents. I think Yoan Moncada is right behind Bregman. And then after that, it's a bunch of basically utility guys. So, guys, we're going to have to continue this conversation with Brett tomorrow. I want to hear a lot of his thoughts and everything. But thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make this first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, and go Astros.